My daughter cut me off as a father after finding out I wasn't her biological dad, and I encouraged her to take her life more seriously. Now 6 years later, she's broken no contact to ask me to walk her down the aisle because her bio dad passed away. My daughter, 26F, and I haven't spoken in years. When she was 15, we found out she wasn't my biological daughter and that my wife had cheated on me years ago with a friend. As it turns out, this so-called friend was suddenly interested in playing dad. My wife and I divorced, my daughter learned the truth, and I told her I still loved her no matter what. Of course, she was now interested in getting to know her biological father, and while it hurt, I tried to accept that. She started pulling away from me after that. Even when trying to still do things together as a family, she was no longer interested. The last straw was when she was 20 and living at my house. We were arguing because she dropped out of her college courses, hadn't done anything for 3 months, and was mad because I told her she either needed to go to school or work if she wanted to stay here for free. She told me I'm not her real dad, so I should stop pretending like I am, and that she'd just go stay with her real father. That broke me, honestly. But I told her if that's how she really feels, then there's really nothing left to say between us. And she did move out to go live with him. I was depressed for a very long time and drank a lot. My son, 24M, was my only reason to keep moving forward. For the first couple of years, I reached out to my daughter. She wanted no contact. I learned to accept that and move on. It helped me find more peace in my life. My son stopped talking to her for a while over this and was angry with her. They still chat sometimes, which doesn't bother me at all. Through him, I learned her biological father died in October 2019. Also, that she's engaged. She reached out to me, first acknowledging that we haven't talked in a while, but wanted to ask me if I'd be willing to walk her down the aisle. After a pretty long message about how much she hurt me in the past with her actions, I told her no. She didn't want me to be her father anymore, so I learned to no longer view her as my daughter. This turned into a fight between us because, according to her, it's not her fault she wanted to know her real dad. And I agreed with her, it's not. But what was her fault was how she treated me ever since. In my mind, I know if he hadn't passed, we wouldn't even be speaking right now. It ended with me telling her I hope she enjoys her wedding, but I want no part of it or her life. My son told me she's ranting to my family that I'm ruining her day and that she thought parents are supposed to love their kids unconditionally. My brothers now seem to think that I'm being a jerk and that this is my chance to be in her life again. But I have no interest in that. Still, it seems everyone has a strong opinion on it, that I'm making it difficult for my daughter to have the wedding she wants and that it would mean a lot to her. My son is on my side, but the comments are still wearing me down and, just for the sake of my sanity, am I being a jerk? Top/relevant comments. Downvoted commenter. You're the jerk, I'm sorry about what you've been through, but I think you're going to regret this. Your daughter was just a kid when she found out you weren't her biological father, and while you've been to hell and back yourself, the whole thing must have messed with her head in ways even you can't imagine. The exchange you had when she was 20 and you told her to get a job and she cut contact is actually something that happens to a lot of biological parents, so as unpleasant and unreasonable as her behavior was, it's not particularly unusual, and reconciliation is possible. Does she have a responsibility now that she's older and wiser to put all that angst and confusion behind her and handle the situation like an adult? Yes, and that's what she's trying to do. Op's response. Reconciliation with her is not something I want anymore. I've made peace with my life for the first time since this whole thing came out. Commenter 2. Wow, Op, I'm so sorry to read through your story, and some people may disagree, but I really don't think you're the jerk. You attempted contact throughout the years, but it wasn't you who became distant, it was your daughter. She wanted to get to know her bio dad, nothing wrong with that, but at the expense of becoming distant and eventually having no contact with you, her dad who had been there for her since she was born. Now the bio dad isn't there to walk her down the aisle. Op, if she truly wanted you at her wedding, you would have received an invitation, not become a stand-in for her deceased bio dad. Why can't her brother walk her down the aisle? Personally, I think she just wants her wedding to look good, irrespective of how you feel. Not the jerk at all. Op's response. He said he's not going to the wedding regardless, but I'm not sure if she would ask him. Op responds to a deleted comment regarding cutting out family for mental health. That's something I've had to learn the hard way as well, cutting out family for your own mental health, no matter how much it kills you. It hurts, but sometimes it's what's best for your life. My son saw how badly it was putting me in a very dark place that I almost didn't come back from. Op on his son and daughter's relationship. They have their own issues. I've told him many times I'm more than okay with him still having a relationship with his sister. And he should go to the wedding. Op clarifies on if he spoke with his daughter face to face. The meeting was in person. Even if I felt her apology was genuine, my feelings would remain the same. Trust me, I know how much of a shock it was when she found out. On top of that, divorcing her mom. It's why we had her and my son in therapy for years, to help her and us process everything. It's been well over 6 years since she decided she didn't want us to have a relationship. It cuts you deep, and with help from my son, as well as therapy, I eventually managed to get by. I've finally found peace in my life and don't intend to lose it. Update 10 days later. Thank you for your support, especially those fellow parents who reached out in my messages with advice, judgment, and suggestions on what to do about my family. It took sending a mass text to everyone who wouldn't leave me alone about this. It took me some time to think of what to write and to clear my head from everything. It was a reminder of everything I did over the years to try to be in her life and how that all ended, how detrimental it was to my mental health. They all remember what it was like and how much it put me in a dark place that took lots of therapy and the need to be there for my son to get out of. My brother called me afterward. He apologized for the way he was pushing this. We had a much longer conversation. I told him my decision to remain out of her life was final. He respected that. Since no one else has said anything, I'm hoping that means everybody else got the message. The best thing some suggested here was blocking out the others saying things, and her. It wasn't doing my mind any good. I spoke to her over the phone to talk about the way she's been behaving online and the others in the family. I apologized for how things happened and wished she didn't have to deal with these life-altering moments at such a young age. She made her choice for the past 6 years, just the way I have. I even asked her to be honest with herself and answer, not to me, if her biological father hadn't passed, would we be here right now speaking to each other? She didn't say anything. But that's fine. It's a question for her to honestly answer to herself, like I did, before I told her to enjoy her wedding and hoped it's a lovely, healthy marriage. And this door to our relationship is closed. I hope she can find peace with that and enjoy her life the way I have. The conversation ended shortly after that. She didn't say if she would stop saying anything about me online, so I just made sure to block her and others on her mom's side of the family to make sure there's no more bothering. This is the peace of mind I needed, and I'm glad to have taken up this advice. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. It's good to hear that you worked things out with your brother and that he apologized. It's also good to hear that you have peace of mind. You made the right decision, even though it wasn't an easy one. Maybe deep inside, she knows the answer and just wasn't willing to voice it. Op's response. She didn't say anything. As long as she knows what the true answer to that is, it doesn't matter if she told me or not. It's just something I wanted her to really reflect on. Op explains more about his daughter's school, the divorce, and his relationship with her. You want to know why she stopped school? She said it wasn't for her at the time, as she didn't know what to major in. She had changed majors twice at that point. We had a conversation about that. And okay, it's fine, school's not for everyone, and it's understandable not knowing what you want to do with your life. However, going out with friends or to her mom's and then doing nothing at home isn't an option. I told her that if she wanted to keep living there rent-free, as in, I would start charging her rent, not kick her out, then she needed to find a job while she figured out what to do with her life. The divorce, we had both kids in therapy because, obviously, at the time, nobody in the family was mentally equipped to do it alone. And she had been in therapy for years afterward to get used to all this new information. We also took the proper steps to slowly introduce her biological dad into her life since she decided that's what she wanted. What makes you think I took a step back from being a father when he started coming around? Did you forget that she lived with me? She wanted to get to know him and have a relationship, so we worked to make that happen. What other details would you like to know, rather than making up assumptions about my life? Op on his daughter's bio dad and how it led her to ask him about walking her down the aisle. He passed away almost 2 years ago, and I hadn't heard anything until now, when it was only to ask to be part of her wedding. I asked so she could reflect on the answer for herself. It doesn't matter to me what prompted it, if that was even the reason. I've moved on with my life along with my son. Commenter 2. This may not be relevant, but if you are still listed as her father on the birth certificate, please update your will as you would want. Otherwise, she could claim a portion of your inheritance. Op's response. Sorry I didn't answer before, but no, I'm no longer on her birth certificate. Comment update 5 months later. Commenter. It's been 5 months since the update. Could you tell me if anything else has happened? Op's response. Nothing much else has happened, thank goodness. My family has pretty much left me alone, and as far as I know, she got married already, but I don't know any other details aside from that. I'm just relieved it didn't turn into anything else. I know my ex tried to get in contact to get mad over what happened, but my brother told her for me where to shove it and didn't give her my info.